Years earlier, Minho's father had made a decision that nobody else understood. To protect his only son from dangerous enemies, he hid him from the public and erased every trace of his privileged life. From that night onward, Minho lived an ordinary life under the care of trusted guardians. The wealth, the power, and the family name disappeared from public view. Only a handful of loyal people knew where he truly was. The memories faded as quickly as they had appeared. Minho looked up once again, reminding himself that the past could never be changed, but the future was now entirely in his hands. But they weren't alone. Hidden behind the cherry blossom trees, someone had been watching the entire meeting. And what Du Jin believed he had just discovered would push him into making the biggest mistake of his life. Hidden behind the trees, Du Jin watched every movement, but because he couldn't hear their conversation, he reached the wrong conclusion. In his mind, the elderly businessman wasn't protecting Minho, he believed the old man was simply a wealthy relative. Satisfied that he had uncovered the mystery, Du Jin quietly walked away. Instead of becoming cautious, he became even more determined to humiliate the transfer student before the entire school. Minutes later, the visitors quietly left the campus. The luxury vehicles disappeared through the front gate as quickly as they had arrived, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions. When Minho returned to class, the atmosphere had completely changed. Every student who saw him now looked at him differently. Curiosity had replaced indifference. But Du Jin had already made up his mind. This time, he wasn't planning a simple prank. He wanted to embarrass Minho in front of the entire class. Without realizing he was about to challenge the one person he should never have underestimated. The entire classroom fell silent. Everyone knew Du Jin was preparing another public humiliation. No one expected the quiet transfer student to stand a chance against the school's most feared bully. Some students quietly reached for their phones. They expected another ordinary bullying incident, something they could laugh about after school. None of them realized they were about to witness a moment that would spread across the entire campus. What frustrated Du Jin the most wasn't resistance, it was silence. The more he tried to intimidate Minho, the calmer the transfer student became. That quiet confidence slowly began to make the other students question everything they thought they knew. Then, at the worst possible moment, Minho's phone began to ring. It wasn't the call that surprised everyone, it was the way Minho calmly looked at the screen, as though he had been expecting it all along. As Minho answered the mysterious call, the luxury convoy returned to the school for the second time that day. This time, they weren't coming for a meeting. They were coming to reveal a truth that nobody inside Class 2A would ever forget. The classroom became so quiet that even the sound of Minho answering the call seemed unusually loud. Whatever he heard on the other end, his calm expression never changed. Outside, the same luxury convoy returned to the campus. This time, everyone stopped what they were doing. Even the teachers sensed that something extraordinary was about to happen. Principal Han immediately left his office. Without hesitation, he gathered the senior staff and walked toward the front courtyard. Their expressions made it clear that this was no ordinary visit. Only a few moments later, another urgent message arrived. This time, the administrator wasn't looking for the principal, he had come directly for Minho. For the first time since Minho arrived at the school, someone bowed to him in front of the entire class. In that single moment, everyone realized they had made a terrible mistake. But they still had no idea who Kong Minho really was. Without saying a word, Minho followed the administrator. This time, nobody whispered. Nobody laughed. The confidence that had filled the classroom only minutes earlier had completely disappeared. Within minutes, every student and teacher had been called to the central courtyard. No one understood why an emergency assembly had been announced without warning. As Minho crossed the crowded courtyard, the sea of students quietly moved aside. Every eye followed him. For the first time since his arrival, the entire school was looking at the quiet transfer. Standing beside the principal was the same elderly businessman who had visited the school earlier that day. Their expressions made one thing clear: the truth could no longer remain hidden. At that very moment, the secret everyone had been searching for was finally revealed. Kang Minho wasn't an ordinary transfer student. Years earlier, the school's founder had placed the academy in his name to protect it until the rightful heir came of age. The quiet boy everyone had ignored was the legal owner of the entire school. But Minho never looked for revenge. He had never come to the school to prove he was better than anyone else. He simply wanted to be treated like an ordinary student, judged by his character instead of his family name. As Minho walked back through the crowd, nobody dared stand in his way. Respect had finally replaced prejudice. It was a lesson the entire school would remember for years to come. Sometimes, the greatest mistake we can make is judging someone before knowing their story. Kang Minho never needed wealth to earn respect. He only needed time for the truth to reveal itself. And that's where our story ends. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this K-drama recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next amazing story.